And
Good
we
morning. They not like us. They not. I don't know why that song is in my head right now, but all I can hear is that. Dun, 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 dun. Um, it is 6 a.m. on the West Coast. Okay, and I'm up and I'm here with y'all, and so is Cam, because actually he's on the West Coast right now. This is what.
hey,
So it is. Let's talk about how it feels. I think this is the benefit of having a show where we could just do what we want. Is like the initial getting up part is the part. Like now, give me 5 minutes in and I'm ready to go. I'm like, because I got stuff I want to talk about. The Pinky Cole news. I want to talk about that. And she about to be on Real Housewives of Atlanta. So, I want to get into that. Then what's today? Tuesday?
today is Tuesday.
Today is election day. We need to do some election day coverage.
Sir.
All
Whoa,
right.
it's a big election.
Big
Big
election. We
election.
gotta get into it because
Big week.
listen, if you out there, we need y'all making it happen. All right, we need you going where you need to go. We need you getting up. We need you, we need you voting like ASAP. So I want to get into that too. So what else? Let me actually they not
Yes,
like us.
it's only to your point on these types of shows, even on our last show, it always took I'm glad you had Omi time because that would like rev me up. And then it's like, okay, I'm in it. Because some days you wake up and you're going, you got up early, you did your yoga, you did your I had my green juice. Other days it's like by the skin of my teeth, I'm logging in. But you having Omi time was like, oh, I can get to hear a story. I can do my ow now brown cow like mic exercises.
You know what? So the thing about it is I'm a super morning person. So that's the part, like literally, whatever man that I married just might know that I'm gonna roll over and start talking. You know what I'm saying? Like in the morning, I'm like, "Hey, what's up? What we doing? Where we going? What y'all? What we gonna do?" I was because literally, okay, this is part of why I am like I am too. I was diagnosed with narcolepsy in 2007. Okay, now, what that means is don't think about like what you see on TV, where it's like a person can't they fall asleep in their soup and stuff like that. Like I feel like TV does the worst with certain like chronic illnesses in the way it paints it, right? So that's a whole nother conversation. But I was diagnosed with narcolepsy in 2007, which is a neurological disorder technically. And when I got diagnosed, the doctor was like, "Hey, I don't know how you've been living like this whole time. If you get sleepy, you're not the person that can make it to the next exit. You need to pull over immediately and take a nap." And yeah, that's how bad it was. The average person falls asleep and dreams in about 30 minutes to an hour. I could fall asleep and dream in like 5 minutes. So so the doctor's like, we need to give you some medicine, whatever. So I had two medications. I had a medication that made me go to sleep, and I had a medication that made me stay awake. The kicker with me is that I was sleepy because my body wasn't falling into the proper levels of sleep at night. So essentially, I'm thinking all night long. And so when people are like, "What's her unique vantage point? How's she accomplishing all these things?" It's because your body's actually asleep. I'm not. I'm up. Like I look like I'm asleep. I'm in the bed. I'm underneath the cover. I'm all that, but my brain is still going. And so by the time I wake up, I have a million thoughts. Like I wake up and I've solved the thing I went to bed thinking about. I've solved the problem that you had. I went to like I've gone to bed. I look like I'm seemingly asleep, but my brain is still thinking. So by the time I wake up, I got oh, you know what the solution to that is? Let's do this, this, and that. Oh, you know what we should do? Let's do this. Let's move here. Let's go. And so I'm ready to fire off as soon as I wake up. Now I'm tired as hell by like noon. But now here's the thing. My spiritual community and my spiritual workers and teachers and all that, they never believed that I had narcolepsy. They always felt like I wasn't properly managing the energy that I was able to absorb, which I'm gonna say that is true. And the reason why I say that is because okay, so I didn't even plan on telling this story this morning, but here we go. So for those out there dealing with chronic illness or dealing with what you say, you on mute.
No, I said I'm here for it. I uh I know and we had that one moment, and I apologize again, where I didn't realize narcolepsy. I know it's a real thing, but you're the first person I had ever met that had it. So I
Yeah,
learned
and
your
more people
website.
have it than have been diagnosed with it. You know what I mean? So I think like that's the other thing. You know, how you always be like, oh, such and such is always so sleepy. Oh, I just be falling asleep. Oh, I just be falling like we
I'm a
have
victim
norm.
of the TV movie era of like fall asleep.
Yeah. That's what everybody knows it for. They don't do it as much now, but like it was a point where like that was the thing. You know, even like cartoon characters had it. You know what I mean? They would like make fun of it. So, long story short, in 2024, so I got diagnosed in 2027. I was on medication the majority of my life, but up and down. I mean, my majority of my life after 2007, up and down though because um, I as I journeyed into being an entrepreneur, I didn't have insurance at some points, and that medicine is like a tier 3 medication. It's heavily regulated. So you can't just get access to it. In fact, the medicine that would make me go to sleep is called Xyrem, and it's the date rape drug basically. So like you go to sleep, you're out, and then you have to wake up like 3 hours later, take a second dose, and then it got to be 3 hours from the time you actually wake up and like it was a lot of management. I lost hella weight though, cause I got like so energetic. I started like working out. I started training to run like a 5K. Like I got into it because I was like supercharged at that point. Anyway, long story short, by the time I got to 2024, so I got to a point where I was like, I don't want to take medicine for the rest of my life. I do not want to do that. So I went to like a plant medicine retreat. And this is early in the morning. I don't know if y'all want to get into the real of the real about like all the
We
like
here for it. We here for it. It's a
alternative
30-day
medicine.
show, so imagine the
Oh, we
stories
ain't
that
on
we can tell.
serious. I can, I don't got to think
You can
about
tell
that.
that we're on serious. We're not there, but it's a 30-day show,
You right.
and if you
I can
didn't
say what I
know,
want.
now you know.
Right. There you go. I can say what I want. So I did a plant medicine journey. No, I did a plant medicine retreat where you do several kinds of plant medicine. And one day, one day I want to have somebody come on because I really feel like now our audience is diverse. So it's not only Black people, but I know that there's lots of my people watching me, and actually lots of Black people watching me. I want to be clear to like Black my people ain't always doesn't mean a color or gender or any of that. It's an energy, but the for my Black folks, I feel like we don't get enough education on like other ways to medicate yourself. So they're like not medicate yourself, but other ways to care for your body in some way. So like we hear things like plant medicine or psychedelics, and we be like, oh, I ain't doing them drugs, them white people drugs and stuff like that. And it's like, nah, really, we need to get educated about what the plants can do for us. Because I mean, all of this comes from Native American heritage, even some African heritage, like lineage, like all this comes from that. But we don't get enough education about it. And then there's all these movies about that too. So there's these movies where people are taking psychedelics or doing these different things in different ways, or we hear about these different things in pop culture and then we shun them because we're like, oh nah. But anyway, long story short, I still believe that I was healed through that plant medicine retreat. So of narcolepsy, which is unheard of. So by the time I went back to get tested at the top of 2024, because I was like, I'm getting sleepy again, and I wanna go ahead and get medicine back. So I went ahead and got tested again, and they came back and said you don't have narcolepsy. That is medically impossible. Um, so so then I was like, yo, I believe what my spiritual friends were saying, which is like you need to manage your energy better. And so now I'm really big on energy management and understanding that like when I walk into rooms, if I'm not careful, I'm absorbing energy and then it's short circuiting me and I'm getting tired. And I really pay attention to that when I'm talking to certain people too. Because what happens is like you're engaging in certain conversations, and if you're really open and you're a kind of person that like you're an empath and you just absorb energy, it really makes you tired. So like pay attention to people who make you tired. All right. And when people start making you tired, that may be a relationship for you to move away from.
Question: I get individuals making you tired, and that's good advice to move away. But sometimes, like the sheer volume of peopling, and I'm an extrovert. I think I give and get energy. But when I say this LA run, for example, I was talking like this is in LA across the country for 3. I probably spent now a total. By the time this trip is over, it's been a total of like 16, 17 days in the last 30, 35 in LA. And the amount of not just a small rooms or events I'm in, it's like every weekend was built around a mega people event in terms of All-Star, Grammys, NAACP Image, the peopling, the cumulative effect of giving, even if somebody isn't like bad energy, I think there's something to that too. That regulation of my
No,
people.
you know why? I think part of it is that we get away from like living our full lives in spirituality. I think we've gotten away from that in some instances. So what I mean by that is like part of it is we don't always prepare either. So like we're like going and going, but we don't go like fill up the tank. So like what would it mean if I gotta drive? So there's a difference between like I'm driving across country and I fill up my tank once and I go as far as I can go till I run out. And I fill up my tank again, I go as far as I can go till I run out. And I fill up my tank again, I go as far as I can go till I run out. We keep doing this until I run out thing. But what if you didn't do that? Right? Like, what if you went halfway filled up? What if you, every time you let a little bit, you drove, sometime you filled up? Right? Now, that's not practical when you're driving an actual car. But for your spirit, that means you got to do certain things. That means you can't be, you might not be able to eat fried chicken. You know what I mean? Like you might really need to eat something that nourishes a certain organ. You might really need to eat, and I'm not saying I'm following all this. I'm just sharing with y'all. You might need to eat something that has more water, right? You might need to hydrate in a certain way. We go to these events, not saying you because I don't know what you do, but I'm saying drinks are everywhere. So then we drink. It's constantly dehydrating. We wake up the next morning, we drink what? Coffee, constantly dehydrating you, right? So I think that like that's another piece. Is like we're not, yeah, you gotta like, and then I think sometimes like we'll do something, we'll take up 3 days and do things that are super dehydrating, like super like that messes with your hydration, and then we'll drink like 2 bottles of water and think that that did it. And it's like, nah, you actually got to get hydration salts.
Over.
You actually need to, yeah, you actually need to boost your hydration in a certain way. Like maybe you need to get it, maybe for the morning, you need to eat a certain kind of fruit, vegetable, something like that. You know what I mean? It's like spiking our blood sugar in different ways. Like there's just so much around like food and like sleep. So like we'll go to the thing doesn't end until 9 or 10 p.m. Then we'll go to the after party of the thing. Now you up to 11, 12. Then you gotta get up next day, have 5 meetings at 10 a.m. Like we just really run on fumes a lot. A lot.
I'm the fume master.
Like,
And it can't keep going that way. I
we
know it.
run on fumes a
But
lot.
I don't know another way. I look at my bank account, I'm like, well, I gotta keep going.
Well, I'm glad that you said that because I know another way. Okay. What, so well, I don't know if we talked about it fully, but because of that, so that same year, 2024, I went to the doctor, like, you don't have narcolepsy anymore. I'm like, all right, what? That's crazy. Then I took a sabbatical. And so nervous system regulation is the key. So for all my high performers out there, nervous system regulation is the key. And you could do it in the swing of your fast-paced movement. So one quick tool I'll show you. I mean, yeah, everybody here is watching me. So one quick tool I can show you is like alternate nose nostril breathing. So like people will say like in through the nose, out through the mouth, and I think that's good, and like we could do that, and that's great. That's like real base level. So real base level, in through the nose, out through the mouth, real base level breath work technique. But what brings you like immediately calms anxiety, immediately gives you a feeling of rest is alternate nostril breathing. Now, the official way you do it is you're making the basically like hand ASLY. But I'm gonna show you how to do it different because this is the official way you do this. But this feels weird to me. So I know that's the way you do it.
Hold up.
So don't none of
Show me
my
again. Show me again.
don't none of my breathwork people come get me. But this is it. You officially you do this and you're doing this. I'm gonna show you how to do it though. Just hold on.
Okay.
I think this is weird because these two fingers are the furthest apart and that doesn't make sense for me. So I'm gonna do it with these two.
Why wouldn't you just do this?
There's probably some science behind it. I don't know at this moment that behind this. And I don't know if it's some connection to the body. Maybe, I don't know. So I'm gonna let y'all know. Yeah, I'm gonna show y'all how to do it the way I am gonna be teaching people how to do it. So it's alternate nostril breathing. All right. And so wherever you are, not driving though. If you're driving right now, please do not try this. But if you are, where um, if you're settled, then you can try this. All right. So 2 fingers. You're gonna go whatever side you choose. You gotta go in through one side. And you gotta go out through the other side. In through that same side. Out through the other side. In through the same side. Close out through the other side. In through the same side. Close out through the other side. Now you want to keep one side closed at all times, so you don't want to let go like this. You want to like in, out, in, close, out, in, close, out. Even after just a few rounds, you can feel like your body
What is that
feeling a
supposed
little.
to do for me?
It lowers cortisol,
Other than make
lowers
me look
anxiety.
crazy to to down.
Actually, so I tell people this too. You can actually fake it if you're like at a restaurant. Like if you got, let's say you're at dinner with your
Mhm.
parents, because parents are some of the most triggering people in our lives, believe it or not. So,
My
and I'm a
parents
parent,
trigger love.
so there's that. And triggering means different things. Like parents trigger expectations. Like so,
Oh,
and that could bring anxiety depending on what you talk about at what point in a conversation. But you could literally pick up act like you're blowing your nose and do it. Like if you need to do it real quick, to get settled. But really quick technique. I think it brings a lot more calm, faster, and a lot more like rest to the body, like immediate, like lowers cortisol to the body. But I am the creator of boardrooms and breath work, and where I'm really talking about like body, business, and belonging. And that is like, how do we get more people to focus on nervous system regulation on a regular basis to help you perform better? But you do a couple rounds of that, do it the right way. Ken wasn't doing it the right way, but do it the right way. You keep your you keep your nostril closed. And it works out. I just gotta know what's up with these sunglasses. Like, what are we doing? I don't know. Why? What is it? Is it I wear my sunglasses at night? Like,
oh,
what
you
is it
really talking
situation?
about these? No, because this is the show, so I have to have a look for a show.
And this is the look. Sorry. I'm just asking. I'm trying to figure it out.
I'm
What?
done on the 30-day show. Moving
Okay.
forward,
Oh.
rocking sunglasses and rocking
Okay.
a hat because I gotta
Okay.
look different, even though I'm the same person. I look different because I need the audience of the 30-day show to know, oh, that's Cameron Calvin. But
Oh.
I need the person who I'm pitching over here to be like, hello, Mr. Trimble.
Hmm.
That's the beauty of like having your own show, of doing shows and content. It's like you can train the audience to. I don't like saying train the audience like they're sheep or something,
It's
but
branding.
it's branding,
Yeah.
and maybe it's the LA this all these this elification, this lawfication.
Well, from a branding perspective, you're the brand. You're the content expert. I think you should consider doing what's natural and what's repeatable every time, and what is your style. You know what I mean? Like I'm a
No,
glasses person,
this is
so
I'm definitively a hat person, even
okay.
with a beautiful head of hair, no grays over 40, hairline still sharp.
In case just to let people know. Okay.
Just to let them know, that's for everybody. But I'm a hat dude, and I won't say why because it's not in vogue anymore. But I've always said to myself, and I've said it out loud, if you gave me a drink or two, I always wanted to be a sunglasses inside type of person.
Really?
There's a very
Well, I
famous
don't know,
sunglasses
brother. I
inside
would
person
say
that used to They used to roam around, but it's not in vogue anymore. So I'm just saying, I always say, why you got sunglasses on? I was like, man, my future bright. It's kind of blinding me. It's like a little corny but serious joke.
Well, could I make a recommendation?
New glasses, different ones.
What I was saying?
Because these were the ones the closest to me.
Oh, okay,
My
okay, okay.
other a few shades are in the car, and I was like,
I mean, what
and I
I'll
also
say
found my
is,
eyes looking crazy. I was like, you know
yeah,
what?
I sound a little crazy. I would
I'm
say let like the hat thing. I got yes, and especially if you do like different hats, of like the
oh
hats
yeah.
got different styles and all that, or you got vintage hats. You know what I mean? Like hats that it's like, oh shoot, that's the 1947 uh black
Whatever it's called.
Negro League hat. You know what I mean?
I got hats. I got
Like
about
that.
80 hats, 80
Hats are
cities.
great. Shades, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's shades indoors, I don't know. And then like if you gonna do, they need to be like the super dark, like you know what I mean, like where they don't look like they're on. They like it's a part of you. I don't know. I'm gonna let you roll with that. You got it. All right. Today is
Let
Tuesday,
us know
March.
in the comments. Let us know in the comments what you like for if you
In
like
the
that.
comments, what y'all thinking?
Okay.
I'm a vote for the hat, but I'm like a
I'm not
yeah.
voting for the
I don't know.
shades.
Yeah, we gonna. I'm not a
What you
vote for the shades. Maybe not these shades. So I give you that. We'll
one
go with
more.
that. Uh today is Tuesday, March 3rd. This is on this day. Rodney King was the brutal beating of Rodney King in
Oh God.
1991. So this is an interesting day. It's also Women's History Month. Whoop, whoop. And their primary elections in North Carolina, Arkansas, and Texas are happening today. All right. So if you're in North Carolina, if you're in Texas, if you're in Arkansas, get out there and vote. Okay, let's go. They say the Texas Senate primary becomes the most expansive in history. The competitive and contentious Senate state primary race in Texas has become the most expensive. I'm sorry, I said expensive. Expensive on record anywhere in the country, according to media tracking from Ad Impact. With more than 125 million spent on advertising, major Republican donors have poured cash into an effort to save John Conran from an
Cornyn.
embarrassing defeat to
John
Ken
Cornyn.
Paxton. Cornyn.
John Cornyn.
Cornyn, Lord have mercy, thank you. From an embarrassing defeat to Ken Paxton, the MAGA wing state attorney general, who national GOP leaders fear could jeopardize the party's hold on the seat. Cornyn and his allies have outspent Paxton and his supporters by roughly $69 million to $4 million in advertising. $69 million to $4 million. Why would they put it that way? Maybe it's anyway, on advertisement. And in the photo finish Democratic primary contest, supporters of State Representative James Tallarico have helped him heavily outspend Representative Jasmine Crockett and her allies by about $24.5 million to $5 million on ads. Interesting. Cornyn has trailed in public polls to Paxton as President Donald Trump withholds his all-important endorsement from the race. Because of the late entry of the third candidate, Representative Wesley Hunt, even if Cornyn prevails on today, he could still lose in a May runoff election. On the Democratic side, Crockett has a super PAC that was expected to be financed with donations from a major Democratic donor, Carla Jurvetson. Am I saying that right? Jurvetson. But it has largely fizzled, spending only about $1 million on advertising, according to federal records. Jurvetson has asked her network of friends to support Crockett, according to an email. Now, you could break this down for us, because this is your wheelhouse around spending, right? And I don't know if you can answer this question, but the difference between spending, and I'm gonna just go lower because we're talking like 69 million, 24 million. But let's talk about the difference a dollar makes and the difference a day makes. Like a million
Mm.
versus 2 million, right? Like how big of a gap can the millions compound in the advertising and the importance of that?
So when talking through, I'll take my glasses off for this. But this is definitely my wheelhouse and something that I watch and deal with closely. So when talking through what the dollar, you said something super important, what the dollar and what the day makes, because there are dollars. I'll take this as a larger thing. when you look at if you looked at a graph of January to November of a major election year, and you see where, or you looked at that as a pie graph. I mean, not pie graph, like a linear graph. You see like a small line, right around Labor Day, spike. And for 2 months, boom, all the money spent. And then it stops abruptly a few days after November. Anywhere from on the conservative low end, 65, but more like 75 to 80% of the spending people in the money raising comes in those last 2 months. But by then, we've run out of the most important thing you have in any campaign. It's not dollars, it's days. And if you ever go into a campaign office, usually they have those somebody has some version of a countdown calendar where you snatch a little day off and it's one more day, or 372 days to election day, or 250 and 249 and 250 48. Jasmine Crockett got in the race, and I hope I'm quoting this right. Jasmine Crockett got in the race, I believe, with only 83 days to the primary. So, as popular as she is, as much she did have for any normal candidate, she had great several million in the bank because she's always been raising money, and her awareness keeps her foundation high. But she's getting up against James Tallarico, who had already raised and spent millions, had been organizing for almost like close to a year plus, had done the Joe Rogan thing, had done the interviews thing, so he already had strong relationships with media. And the difference in a Texas between $1 million and $2 million, I would actually say is a little negligible because of the sheer size of Texas. If you're talking about ads, and I'm a digital first guy, and I've go check out my op-ed around cut your TV budget in half. I believe we're one of the last great pillars standing up conventional broadcast TV right along with the pharmaceutical industry, but political spending is disproportionately spent on TV, even though it's in comparison to reaching the types of voters or the specific type of voters you want or the amount of people you want. There's so many other ways to spend a digital dollar. But Texas, just let's talk about media markets. You've got Houston, what this a good floats between the second and third biggest city in the country. Huge cost just to reach people in Houston. You've got Dallas, you've got San Antonio, you've got Austin. Those are your big cities, but then you still got the Galvestons of the world, the Lubbocks, and all these other places. Just to forget TV, just to put digital ads at scale, let alone TV, let alone radio, let alone yard signs. Texas and California, obviously, are the two most expensive places to do campaigns. So the difference between a million and 2 million in Texas, not as much. The difference between a million and 2 million, say in a state like South Dakota, where you have a black guy, Julian Blandon, running. He still has his primary, but he's the presumptive Democratic nominee. Astronomical, because he only has to get a few 100,000 votes total. The media markets in the South Dakota are much less expensive, and you can do so much more with if there are fewer people you have to get to vote. All right, I means I could use that extra million to buy 5,000 yard signs. And if you saw 5,000 yard signs spread out in a few areas and reservations in South Dakota, it has a meaningful more impact than that same 5,000 yard signs might just be able to get North Dallas in a state. So the dollar difference, and then it's how you spend the dollar. Some people get an extra dollar and like, all right, I'm gonna do another piece of mail. So I'm gonna send out a mailing. That could cost money. Or most people are holding money because older candidates are still holding money because like, hey, I'm gonna plus up and go hard on TV. That's still like a general sentiment. But the difference between a million and 2 million in a lot of states and races, and then we're talking about statewide races. If I'm running for city council, you know what I mean? If I'm running for city comptroller, I'm running for school board. First of all, I probably don't need a million because the area that I'm covering is not as large, but 1 million to 2 million on a statewide race, people running for U.S. Senate, sometimes even a congressional race or a mayoral race, governor, something that has a much bigger pool of people, uh, can be significant. Did that make sense?
Thank you. No, that make perfect sense, and thank you for breaking that down. I think because we hear, we hear it reported on. Oh, this person spent 20 million. This person spent 40 million. It's almost like the same level of news that I get about investments. Oh, this company raised, like I'm on email list where they send you who's raising what or who just closed what round and that kind of thing. And it's like, oh, this person raised this amount. Oh, this person raised that amount. And you like, and some people know what that means, and then sometimes some people don't know what that means. So I think I'm always curious about what these do, and I think you kind of broke down a sort of the like the pie chart of where it could be spent. Like, okay, you got you know $20 million in Texas, you doubling down on TV. You know what I mean? Like, or in some states, you might be doubling down on TV. Like you mentioned, widely things is the money spent on TV. But then you got yard signs. Then you got, it's interesting.
You
I
got
wonder,
food,
like,
you got like, if you look at a pie chart, usually on what does the average campaign, a well-funded campaign spend on, the largest part of the pie chart is still paid advertising. Now,
mm,
what you decide to pay and the right mix of paid advertising is another thing, but it's usually paid advertising. The next thing is staffing. Whoever your staff are, the bigger the race, the more people you have staff. It's not just volunteers. Then comes a mix of compliance, activations, depending on where it is. I think Jasmine Crockett and James Tallarico is interesting. Texas is interesting in general because both sides have highly contentious, very impactful on Congress and the Senate as a whole,
mm,
depending on if any of them. Because on the Republican side, Ken Paxton, the state attorney general, is like ultra conservative. He's like thinly veiled racism. Like he's to the right of the governor. So he's like
mm,
ultra conservative, right? He's like I said, a lot of things that are either blatantly or semi racist, in terms of over his time and period. Um, uh, what's the word? It's illegal for mental health providers to transition kids in this state. Like he's pushing the most conservative or the most, I would say, far right values. So he's highly Trump MAGA aligned.
mm,
And then you got John Cornyn, who is conservative as heck. But don't get it twisted. But when you stand next to Trump and he's not as mouthy, he's not as die hard about this stuff. Cornyn, I've met Cornyn um, years ago. Like I said, for everybody who knows my story, I got started on Capitol Hill working for Eddie Bernice Johnson, who first ever nurse elected to Congress. Regal black woman, second black woman in the state of Texas to be elected to Congress. 25-year history, well known, well respected on both sides of the aisle. She had a good relationship with Cornyn, even if they didn't agree. And I saw him, and this was when he was in the Senate, she's in the House. He was at fundraisers for her, stuff like that. And they would vigorously disagree, not vote the same, but she just had a cordial, she'd either friendly or cordial with all the Republicans and Democrats in the state of Texas for years, because she herself was a force. He's still at least I watched, I mean, maybe not as much now. He's still a Republican you could talk to. Maybe he's not going to agree with you and go with you, but he's not like adding to the verbal rhetoric and the verbal discourse. But Ken Paxton is like a bomb thrower. And so
mm,
they're trying to figure out, are we walking into an election where you have a super Trump aligned person at the top of the ticket in the US Senate? Is this what it takes to galvanize Texas and get it purple? And is that, and the same on the Democratic side? It's polling. I'm not in the state, so you hear both things. Is Jasmine too liberal? Is Jasmine
mm.
Is her energy is her energy does it is she electable and with people in certain suburbs or far parts of the state? Is James Tallarico too calm? Is his ties to is he just the same kind of thing? Is his ties to Israel or how all those things work out? Is he too chill? Is he too Bible-ish? It's like they've both the sad part is they both have found ways to truly break through in this noisy cycle and build audiences and communicate. And I think they're still communicating in the same direction.
Direction.
They're on the same boat, rowing in different directions, maybe at different places, and rowing and helping the boat go forward different ways. And one of them is about to be deplatformed. And by
Now let's talk about that because the language one of them is about to be deplatformed is huge, right? I feel like Jasmine Crockett is she'll still run out her term, right? So
she'll run her term, yeah.
Yeah, and then
She's in until January 2nd of next year.
And this is a hard one though for her, in my opinion. Like I want her to win, and I need people out there to vote for her. By the way, welcome to the 30 Day Show. If you're just tuning in, I'm Omi Bell. I'm here with my co-host Cameron Calvin. Today we're talking about multiple different things. I want to get to the Spinky Code news in a minute. And I want to talk about business and just like business failures and things I'm seeing. Because also yesterday, Hanifa, African designer, also announced that they're going to be pausing their business. So I want to get into that in a minute. Okay, Maria, we need you to go out there and vote, girl. Yes, she says she lives in Texas. Texas, Arkansas, North Carolina. Today is your primary. Go and vote. Primaries are happening there. Go vote. Get out and vote. Get out and vote. Okay, like we need y'all out there voting. But let's talk about like when we talk about the deplatforming. What happens next? Tallarico loses. Jasmine loses. Let's look at both of their situations from where you're seeing. Like, where do they go next? Do they find some other office? What happens to them?
I'll talk about Tallarico first. Tallarico he's younger. And he was a man who caught a viral moment and rose from State House to national prominence through his principled Christian stance, and he understood the wave. Like, good politics is understanding the moment and the time as much as it is about your story, your connection, and who you are as a person. So he understood the moment in time and he rode the wave, but he's not in a major position to where I think a Tallarico it's huge to go from State House to Senate in a state like Texas. So he skipped a lot of places. He could have been the mayor of a major city of Austin. He could have been U.S. congressman on the House Representative side, winnable race for him, given his he could have ran if he ran for I don't know about statewide because it's the concept of statewide in Texas that is tough. The numbers consistently say the amount of Black people, Latino people are so large. Those two groups combined are the majority in Texas. Actually, the numbers in the polling says it's independent and / conservative on some views of Texas. There's so many the majority of Texans align with so many different things that are less conservative or less Republican. And then there are so many unregistered or infrequent voters in Texas. The numbers, it's appealing if you're a data scientist that I should run statewide in Texas. Texas has the ability for Democrats to be way more competitive statewide. It just comes down to the money and the investment. It comes down to the days and dollars. People do not start. It's talked about in our communities. It's a lot, and by our communities, I mean like the political communities. But Tallarico, I give all of that context because Tallarico, he went from like local to I'm gonna jump statewide, and next to governor, biggest statewide thing. Y- oh, interesting. He was running for governor originally, and when he realized the opportunity, yeah, there's thank you, Maria. There's a lot of tea that's been reported on who and what, because he was going to run for governor, had a lieutenant governor slate, and then he went to New York, had some donors talk to him. Next thing you know, the donors were like, "Hold up, you should actually run for this," and then he repositioned.
Mm.
And then all that to say is that there's place for him to fall if he still wants to run and be elected. I'm always wary of, like, once you lose an election, it's super hard to win a second one, because psychologically we're a country of winners, and we're not programmed to vote for people who lost. When you lose two elections, like a Beto or something, it's really hard for you to, especially two high profile elections, it's really hard for you to win again, because it's like, well, I'm not going to support you because you're just going to lose. So if he ran again, I would almost certainly see him running to take off and pick off either a Republican in Congress, or him to be some level of a city mayor. If he's foolhardy, he'll go run for governor or something like that. But you got to realize, like, he got to win again to win again.
Okay.
Yeah, Jasmine's different.
Does that work if you win close though? So like if you're like, well, you didn't win, but you were so close to winning, and you go run for governor, or you go for city mayor.
Like, when you think about who won the NBA championship last year. It was OKC. You know, they were in Game 7 by a couple buckets. It was close. I don't care.
I don't
One
care. I don't
person
even
won.
remember the.
One person won, and one person
Right,
lost.
right, right. Okay,
I think
okay.
there are people who will convince a person who lost barely to run again, and that does matter. It Depending on the office, but most offices, it does actually matter if you lost barely, because you're like, oh, you could do an analysis, a postmortem of your campaign, and say,
Yeah, and
but
then, and you can figure out where were the majority of people who voted for you too, right? And then you could
but
go.
I'm of the macro. We're
Okay.
we're a country that always talks about, even when we're not doing right, we talk about winning, and we want winners. We do not get behind losers. So I think there's a cycle. There's some data out there, but it's not conclusive. So I'm not going to quote. I'm not going to quote one researcher or another. There's just the inherent understanding of, like, winning. Winning is seen as greatness. Winning is leadership. That's what people see it. So it's just become, if you lose, it just becomes harder. Now, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett has a much different setup, in the sense that, one, she's in Congress for the rest of the year. So she'll know her fate if she were to not win. She'll at least have this entire year to govern, really go hard, depending on what she wants to do, and figure out what her next steps are while she's yes, believe me, as a person who was on his team when he won. Biden lost. Biden is an anomaly. He is an exception, not the rule. He is an extreme exception to presidential politics, not the rule. He lost four. Yes, he lost multiple times. But shout out. I love that we have comments and I can see them in real time. I love that. But Crockett, what is Crockett gonna do? Crockett could start a PAC. Crockett could get a TV show. Crockett could hopefully the right organization, either start one or build up one, because she does have people in her
Yeah, she got
ecosphere.
people.
But when you lose all that money. That if she has money in the bank, she loses that. It has to be redirected or somehow redirected, but she can't, like, live off of that. Two, and she doesn't have to redirect it right away, because she's still in Congress, so she could use it to help other candidates. She could do a lot of stuff. She could still raise money. But going all the way back to deplatform, there's a difference between an elected official on the platform and the person, even as big of a candidate as you are, running. Beto O'Rourke was a member of the House of Representatives. He ran for governor and he ran for Senate. And he had big platforms when he was running. Do you care what Beto O'Rourke says now? No, he's not.
Mm.
He's not in power. Like, a lot of people will fool themselves thinking like, oh, because I've amassed a bunch of these followers and email
Mm.
and all these people. Like, think about the
Now this
psychological, all of that. Like, I
the
just shook.
psychology piece. What you saying something around that because let's take it to a different realm. So we're talking about it in realm of politics right now. But I've even seen people who worked at these big tech companies, right? Google, Meta, Amazon. And they were they were, he was the man, homie. You know what I'm saying? Like they're like, oh, they're the head of blah 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 at Google. Okay, they leave Google. They'd be like, all right, then we'll talk, I'll holler at you. Like, it's not the same thing. It's not one, they don't have the same level of there's like this umbrella of power that comes with being in these places. Umbrella ain't the right word. What I want to say. There's like a backpack. Like there's like a battery in your back of power that comes with being on these large platforms or being attached to these particular places. And then you leave them for whatever reason, either you got laid off or you just left. And a lot of people are facing what we're talking about right now, with the layoffs. Oh man, like people who were executives last year that I saw at CES that would barely even speak to me. You know what I mean? Because they were so executive. They was the head of whatever, the VP of whatever. Child, them folks laid off. And now they're talking to everybody. Hey, how you doing? Oh, hey, oh, yeah,
Can we do
because
coffee? Can we do coffee?
right. Like, oh yeah, I would love to hear what you were. Yeah, because you were the people who holding their ground and doing what they're doing. You just got to be careful. I think, and this is not necessarily related to Jasmine or James, or it's not really related to them per se. But I'm saying that like, be a good person because you never know who you're gonna need when. Don't be thinking you listen. You ain't above the program, okay? Like you're even. So wait, what's the words I used to give? Pleasing, appeasing, proving, and adapting.
Mm-hmm.
In realms of power, this is the game. Pleasing, appeasing, appeasing, proving, and adapting. Even Trump, even Elon Musk, I don't care what level of money you're moving at. You're doing these things and you don't feel a way about them. You're pleasing other people. You're appeasing other people. You're constantly proving something and you're adapting to whatever comes. I try to tell people this because they look at like they look at the money and be like, oh, they're trying to get money. Yeah, money is a factor. Yeah, money is a piece of it. But they're all gunning for power in a certain way. And they're gunning for that power in a way that like keeps their money flowing so they never are without it. And then there's several, but the money and the power at a certain level start coming together in a way where like you just be making these moves. You just want to do whatever you want to do, and that's the power. Now you gotta have money to do it. But the relationships that you have is probably the most powerful things that you have. That's what keeps you doing whatever you want to do is the relationships. So, but in order to keep those relationships, you got to please some people, you got to appease some people, you got to prove something to some people, and you got to adapt. So the kind of people that I don't fool with is when people go like, oh, I don't give about nobody. Guess what? You not I can't roll with you. Like if you don't give about nobody, we can't be friends like that. Know why? Because that don't make sense in the realms of power. A powerless person says, I don't give about nobody. Not a person that's in power. Because if you're in power, you give about a lot of people. You know what I'm saying?
Even the Elon Musk, the Larry Ellisons, the Bezos of the world, we see this on full display. The richest men in the world still gotta at least care about what Trump publicly says. There's a reason why you can get a Mark Zuckerberg who at any given moment could put out the hootie hoo and 3 billion people's water could get shut off, i.e. your whole social media feeds could just, you know what, let's just play with these fools today. Turn that off. Ultra powerful, but he has to sit there and like, what did we agree to again? Like, whether he believes it or not, he had to appease and please. It's funny you mentioned that. I'm glad I stepped up a little bit of like my career, and I said I stepped up into that a little bit more and more, where I learned early going from Congress. Then I went over to the Smithsonian National Museum of African American History and Culture. But as it opened, hottest museum. It was like black. It was Wakanda, black headquarters, and the gates and senior public affairs. So I'm literally approving everybody from members of Congress, lobbyists, but also superstars, athletes when they come in town. Like you're running. Oh, it's so hard to get into that museum, but you always got to be cognizant of it. Then also moving forward in the White House and so forth. But then having to come out of those places, I'm glad the White House came later because it taught me what it means to be a steward of a
Mm.
position rather
Mm-hmm.
than the owner of a position. Not to flex on folks. It taught me to be hyper intentional going into these positions because I've been lucky enough to like every step of the way get to a place or work for a place where it's like most of my emails and calls will get answered. White House was another level. It's like I can convene darn near any meeting I want with all types of people. But I also never let it get to my head to where like, oh, this is me. This is like
Listen,
it's
you
about
saying
me. It's
something.
like,
And
no.
that's what happens. That's what happens when people get into these VP roles or whatever. You like what you said about stewardship. I love that because I think like what I just described is essentially a version of stewardship. Now everybody might steward their relationships in a different way, but what I'm saying about the pleasing, appeasing, proving, and adapting, when I tell you like that is the stewardship formula for how you maintain these relationships over time. And the thing about it is, it's not all bad. Like you know, it sounds real kiss the ring, but like the rings are kissed across the board. You know what I mean? Like you kiss mine, I'm kissing yours, you kiss his. Like it is across the board, and that's what I think that people don't understand all the
The
time,
people
and so
you
they
to
get
your
caught
point.
up in like ego. And it's like, ain't none of this stuff
Mm,
forever. That's the one thing I think about politics, though. It's like you know that this is a term, so you know that this is like a year, particular years. You like, I think going into it, you know that, right? Well, you shaking your head, no,
eh,
yes, what?
different people are playing different games. And it also depends what you're going. There are people who get into politics, elected official. One, I genuinely believe most of them on either side want to do some version of help people. Now, what percentage of them helping people versus getting power versus making money versus
Or who they
some
want to help.
percentages or who they want to help, what their spiritual and political agenda, all those things then start to waver and be different. But you get into power pretty quickly. Most people you recognize, oh, I have a platform. And like I said, I don't want to be deplatformed. And if I lose this, it's a very different world not having staff on hand. It's a very different
Hmm.
world, people not coming to you for a thing versus you going to them a thing. That flipping that head on this coin is like just on a human level and experience is such a mental mind fuck. Like it has to be because even at a staff level, like I said, leaving certain places where you had access, you felt like you were in the eye of the storm, and now you're out here trying to figure out what storm to be a part of and and how to get into the eye and how to get into the center. It's a much difficult place to navigate. But
I think too, like I'm kind of going through this a little bit with where I'm at too. So I'll share. I like to
tell me
share
more.
vulnerability. Huh?
Tell me more.
So I am as I move into being doing more wellness work and as a wellness practitioner, and I talked about this on the Omi Show. By the way, the Omi Show airs on Sirius XM Urban View Channel 126 every Sunday at 11 a.m. So you can check that out. My co-host Cope and I we're breaking down like business and we're mostly talking about business on that podcast on that show. One of the things that that's happening with me right now is this move to LA. So I didn't move here trying to be anything, you know, like in entertainment. I'm saying, so like getting over, and I've been talking to people about this. But I came over here pretty much as a black executive, right, of my own company that's reached my own level of success. Therefore, coming over here, I'm actually able to enter into certain rooms that probably if I came here as not doing the work I'd already done, I probably wouldn't be in. But so that I want to acknowledge and like I'm grateful for. And when I'm in these rooms, though, it still feels like the government as an industry is to DC as creative is to LA. So when I get into these rooms and it's like everybody's trying to do something, everybody's a creator, a freaking, a EP, AP, everybody's something on some show, and then the actors from the show, I meet some of them too, and then or former actors or like older actresses and actors, and I'm like seeing all these folks and like. And then I'd be sitting there like, dang, like now it's like, oh, what do you do? I'm the CEO of BGV. Oh, that's cute. You know what I mean? Like it's like a pat on the head, like, oh, that's nice. Now, if I say I'm an investor, immediately I put dollar signs over my head, and then they're like, oh, I want to talk to you about my project, right? But sometimes I don't lead with that, even though I have capital. I'm not deploying capital at this moment, but like even though I do have capital that I'm gonna have to eventually deploy over the course of the year, I don't, and I know we have capital BGV that's going out in grants and stipends and things like that. But I also have investment capital that I am strongly looking at deploying over the course of this year. Having said that, like people or my network is crazy when you talk about like investing, but people will like if I don't say any of that, it's like, oh, that's cute. Oh, you run a nonprofit. Oh,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? And I'd be like standing, and I just be like, okay, like I'm getting used to just being like, okay, like cool. But it still feels weird, to be honest. Like it still feels weird, and I'm in there like, dang, maybe I'm not creative enough. Like maybe I need to freaking go take some acting class or something. Like that ain't even my thing. But there is this identity piece to entering into rooms where like your platform is smaller in that room than it is in the other room. In my realm, I'm pretty well known, and what I've done is well known. And then sometimes I get randomly surprised of people who do know all about us or whatever. They're like, oh my God, I know. But for the most part, these rooms is like all people who are like influencers, creators with like millions of followers or whatever. And I'm just like, dang, maybe I'm not doing enough. Maybe I'm not doing enough. After everything I already did, after everything I've already done, I'm in this room thinking, dang, I need to do more because this is like, I don't know. And also as I think about like me becoming a wellness practitioner, over the course of this last year and me moving into doing more boardrooms and breathwork work, which is where I'm helping people regulate their nervous system, work on high performers to know that like rest is a performance strategy, right?
Mm.
I love what Brandon said yesterday on the show. He was talking about like why would when Shakari got in trouble for using marijuana, it's like, well, why would it be considered a performance enhancement drug, right? Like it's marijuana, it seemingly slows you down, right? And it's like, no, but because rest, like getting a regulated nervous system will help you perform, right? And I'm like, that, I never thought about talking about it that way. Talking about it that way. Here's the other thing. You could throw a stone here and land on a sound bath. Like that's how many wellness things there are. It's wellness
Out
everywhere.
here, yes.
Yeah, out here, skincare, like whatever you got, there's somebody doing it. Whatever you're trying to figure out, if you need skin removed, you need skin added, you need whatever you need, they doing it. And so I think that's also different because then I'm like, I'm navigating a new layer of validation. That's where I want to talk about it, right? So like you leave office,
Mhm.
you're going into a new level of validation, right? Like it's like you may have been valid by that, but like whatever you do next, if it's not tacked on to that completely or whatever the case is, same thing with like athletes. You retire, you leave the
Mm.
league,
Athletes are the perfect other example of like
you seeking a new
deplatforming.
level of validation.
I think the thing about athletes that the thing about athletes, it's unique with them because they were all athletes who get professional were really, really, really good, obviously. They at every level, high school, college, and in grade school, whatever, they were really, really good. And then they get slotted when they're in the best of the best. Like the 15th man on the bench is literally there's only 400 like there's 15 people on the NBA roster for those. So the 15th man on the bench is like the last guy barely on the team. Dang, we don't know who he is as the general public because he's not the star. But he's legitimately probably better than all but 400 people in the entire world at basketball. Or on a hockey team or a women's volleyball. Well, when you start getting to the biggest sports, but I say those big sports that have platforms, billions of dollars, leagues, and stuff like that. When you stop playing, even if you're the platform really means something, not to Dwayne Wade and LeBron James or to even a Paul Pierce, people who are Hall of Famers, but the guy who was just a bench guy who played in the league for 8 years, but because he played on the Boston Celtics, because he played on the LA Lakers, because he played on the Charlotte Hornets, New York Knicks, he got brand deals. He got to go into restaurants. He got organizations calling him to do fundraising and charity stuff. He still probably he got so many other opportunities, knowing he wasn't a star, but because he was attached to it and he had a platform. And then that's even worse in football. Like, yeah, you're actively on the Washington Commanders, the Philadelphia Eagles, or Indianapolis Colts, any of these teams. And so we want you, yes, random right tackle, random safety who I don't really know, but you play for the Los Angeles Rams. Come over here to do our charity, cut our ribbon, and be involved. The moment you're off those teams, it's like a cold brick truck because half the time you weren't even dealing with what was coming. You just were showing up and being talented.
Right, that
So,
part.
so athletes is even more stark of a contrast, at least with what I would say with electeds, even though they have staff, it's still a high contact sport of like they have to know all the different players and people that they're interacting with. I'm just curious. I said all this coming back to I'm curious to what each of those two folks do. One, what's the next move after someone loses today? And then it's still an uphill battle if they win the Senate in the fall. What's
Mm,
the next move after that for
right.
the other one?
Yeah. So, welcome to the 30-day show. If you're just tuning in, it's crazy. We're already at an hour in. We only got 30 minutes left. So it's
We
like the
could
show.
a little longer, and I'm
Hmm.
sorry. All those principles of you told me about radio, like tell the short story, get to the point, do all that. We could do all that.
I be sure.
Omi used to
Listen,
be coaching me. Omi was like, "Yeah, so Cameron, this, yeah, this how
come
you do
on, bro.
radio. You
Come
get
with
it."
it. Come with it. What you trying to say? What are you trying to tell us?
I threw all
But
that out the window on this.
it's okay because you know what, the longer explanation was helpful. When it comes to politics, though, I think the breakdown is the breakdown. I don't know how much you can skimp on it, other than maybe like get into short form examples. But like I was genuinely curious about the money spin because we hear it all the time, and I think that like part of it psychologically conditions you to also think like this person gonna win or ain't gonna win, and I think that's part of the
Mhm.
problem, right? So like you go like, oh well, James Tellerico is outspending Jasmine Crockett by X amount of millions, and then people go, oh, she not gonna win. I'm not gonna vote for her. You know what I mean? Like, and then it's like, nah, like, still go and vote because actually the fact that you even saw that news right means that like you're still in the run of people that have been advertised to because
Mhm.
the people who didn't see that news are the people that were probably most concerned about going out and voting, and the people that are probably paying to try to get to that you already see that news, so go out and vote. Somebody on IG said they went to vote today in Texas. They voted for Jasmine Crockett. Whoop, whoop, let's go. Today in Texas, North Carolina, and Arkansas primaries. Make sure you get out there to vote. I gotta drop a My family's in North Carolina. I gotta drop a note in the group chat. Like y'all get out there and vote.
For sure.
Um, so that's interesting. This is interesting about having the guest slots, right? Like the two guests that we had didn't come today. Now I don't like that. The reason why I don't like that is because you blocked that time for somebody else and then you didn't show up. So I'm gonna
How does that
say
work? They went and filled it out, and then they should have got like a Calendly link.
that's exactly what happens. So they go click the link, they fill out everything, and then it populates on their calendar and my calendar that shows who's coming, and then they have to fill out a little bit about like what they want to talk about. But once they block that slot, they block that slot, and like all the slots are booked for the most part. So it's like somebody else is trying to get a slot and you booked it up. Don't do that. So I'm probably not apt to let you back in unless you send me a note or something to tell me like why you didn't. Just because I'm like, don't block a spot from somebody else. But you know what? Let me give some grace. Anything could have happened. Somebody could have had an emergency. They could have overslept. Any of that. Let me be better. I'm sorry.
Hold up, overstep is not being better.
Huh?
If you
Oversleep is not being better. Right, right. I'm an
no,
art. Keep in mind that I'm an artist, okay, and I'm sensitive
this
about
is
my.
about me.
So there's a thank you, Maria. Okay, be in your slot, girl. All right, so Question of the day, though, is what I want to get to. As we're talking about, interestingly enough, we're talking about positions, switching positions. I'm gonna have to carry because we're almost at the end of the show. I'm gonna have to actually carry this question over to tomorrow because we may not get to dive into some of the deeper topics. Is the 9 to 5 dead, or is entrepreneurship the new myth? So, are people still getting 9 to 5s? Are there still people going after? Or is
Yes.
or is entrepreneurship now like the thing that people say like, oh no, you need to go be a business owner. Everybody needs to go be a business owner. Do we think that? Do we think that? No. Okay, let's talk about it though. So what we just talked about was more 9 to 5 ish, I would say, in terms of like, you're working in a certain role, you're doing that. What I'm seeing lately is a lot of businesses are shutting down. And black businesses, white, like they're not, honestly, it's not even a race. I mean, granted, I'm in the realm of when it comes to entrepreneurship, I'm mainly looking at small business owners for under-resourced companies. But at the same thing, in that case, it's across the board.
Hmm.
One of the tech platforms we've been using for a while, they're like sent us a notice at the end of last year, like, yo, we got to shut down. I'm like, that's crazy. Um,
A tech platform, because
Tech platform.
that's the thing. When businesses shut down, it's one thing to have the cupcake shop or the something tangible that I see has a storefront. It's way different when it's a technology, a service business, something that's a little less consumer facing, tangible. And people just assume, oh, if you start a tech company, it's just going to keep going until somebody sells it. And it's
Who's
like,
assuming that? Absolutely not.
because
What
I'm
thing?
telling you, it's the same way. There's so much about politics that, in my mind, is both common sense or it feels widely reported and known. That it's like I'm still having to break down so many of the basics for folks, and it doesn't. I think it's the same way when especially when you start talking about entrepreneurship and business, and not entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship is a broad term for literally you can start any type of business. There's a very big difference between there's a difference between I don't know how very big, but there's a difference between an entrepreneur who starts a cupcake company and a candle business, a person who starts a wellness business or a yogi, and there's a person who starts a SaaS business, helping people eliminate malware out of their code in for their companies. Like there's so many different types of entrepreneurs. They all entrepreneurial and can go start a business whether by themselves or with partners. But it's a big difference between the types of businesses, types of customers. And in our mind, going being an entrepreneur is like a blanket term, but there are different types of business. It kind of
Yeah,
depends on
I mean, I agree with that. I think that one of the differences in what we're seeing in businesses fail. So, good morning, Tiffany. Asked if there is any other slides. Text me at 202-918-4483. I have to go and look, but I can see you the link so that you can get the link. Text me for the booking slot for the guest slot. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Also, just become an homie when you text me as well. But I'll pop that up. Yeah, text me 202-918-4483. So what I think is interesting about what you're saying is part of the problem is the scale, right? The focus on scale. The like, and this is where we're seeing businesses have challenges. So a couple things happening. So I don't know if y'all saw the news, but actually, I don't know if I would. Dang, I want to report on this, but like I do want to let our guests come up, and because this about to take us into a deeper level of conversation. Couple things that are happening. Pinky Cole, owner and creator of Slutty Vegan, she just filed for bankruptcy. Also joined the cast of Red
chapter
Road
11.
Chapter 11. Yeah, it's bankruptcy, right? No.
No, yeah, but I'm saying it's a difference between the type of bankruptcies you go into.
Okay, chapter 11. Okay, tell me about what's the other chapter? Chapter 7?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, I'll talk about that then in a minute. We might have to bring that to tomorrow's show because we ain't got that much time, but in terms of the differences between the different two types.
Mhm.
Oh no, I guess we lost her.
Oh, she
Uh
not there?
yeah, I see her. I don't know what happened. But maybe she'll be back. And she joined the cast of Real Housewives. Now, TMZ is reporting on it. You know what? It's one of the things where, like, do you ever want to get famous enough to be on TMZ? I don't know. Okay, like, I actually don't know. All right, so Pinky Cole, Slutty Vegan founder who is new to RHOA, filed bankruptcy, and it looks like she got a good chunk of debt. According to new legal docs obtained by TMZ, Pinky filed Chapter 11 and says she owes the U.S. Small Business Administration $1.2 million. What's more, Pinky says she owes another $192,000 in total to Georgia Department of Revenue. It looks like financial issues may be predated to her Slutty Vegan burger chain in Georgia. In the doc, she says her homes, jewelry, clothing, cars, artwork, and other personal property are worth about $3.7 million, and she says her monthly expenses are around $41,700. The filing comes on the heels of Pinky being added to the Real Housewives of Atlanta cast. They reached out to her. She didn't respond. People, like, I don't know if I want TMZ following my story like that. You know what I mean? Nah, Maria don't look like she's going to be opening many other places. But also, okay, Ariel's back. Okay. Also, Hanifa, also, they posted yesterday that they're going to be pausing. I hear there's backlash. Somebody literally, while we've been on here, sent me an article about the backlash at Hanifa. Well, if y'all follow Hanifa's African designer, they were already receiving backlash because their orders weren't going through or getting
Hanifa,
people.
Clarity, that's those knit type dresses things.
That's one. I mean, they do bunches of things, right? I can't categorize them to just that one, but that is one that they're known for. That's one of their signature items.
I've been with friends and they're like, "Is that a Hanifa?"
Yeah,
and like it's always black women to black women, like they have.
Yeah, we be knowing. I'd be like, "Oh, girl, I see you."
I didn't even know. So you're saying Hanifa stopping too?
Hanifa announced yesterday that they are pausing. Yes. Another, I don't know if y'all know XO Nicole. What used to be XO Nicole, now it's just, I don't know what it's Nicole something. Anyway, she herself is from my experience with her, is a very kind person. But she also posted about just debt stacking, which is like what people tell you, and that's essentially what is happening, right? Is that people are trying to scale so quickly that they start taking on all this debt. And then their revenue never outweighs the level of debt that they took on. And then they got to go out of business. And then, we're seeing something similar with Uncle Nearest, right? So I think that, like, this is the trying to scale quickly is the problem. This is also the difference between having a tech company and having a physical product company, right? You have a tech company, then you have low overhead and you're scaling from a user perspective, but the money you're spending on your overhead stays low because it's tech. But you try to scale a physical product, or trying to scale a restaurant chain, whole different level of experience of expenses. Total different expenses, total different overhead. Also relying on manufacturers. And I think that's one of the hiccups that Nicole had. Like, she had a hiccup with a manufacturer. Her ratings went down, started affecting sales. Same thing when it comes to, not same thing, but I think Pinky was trying to scale so quickly, adapt, scale, get big. And it's like, yo, chill. Now, I think what Hanifa is doing is smart. They hit this big hiccup that said, yo, we pausing. We're not going to, like, she said in her post, basically, she said, I'm not going to let this, like, yearning to scale cause me to pretty much tank my company. And I appreciated that. So I thought it was dope. So I'm going to bring up our next guest, who's also an entrepreneur. And we're wrapping up the show. So we'll bring her up. And today's question is, like, is it 9 to 5 dead? Is it 9 to 5 dead, or is entrepreneurship a myth? Like, where are people on it? Should they keep gunning for entrepreneurship? What does that look like? Welcome to the show, Ariel. How you feeling?
Hey, oh my God. I'm working, being an entrepreneur, doing community work, doing my consulting work and all those things, and watching CNN and then not watching CNN, because everything that's happening in the world is impacting us. Because if they're closing ports and everything, the moms that I represent that have businesses, now their price is going to go up. You're talking about restaurants. I have moms that are complaining about how they're not even breaking even with their businesses because of all the things that's happening in the world is impacting their bottom line. So I'm out here. I'm out here drinking water and praying to God and the ancestors and trying to survive like the rest of us.
Hey, Ariel.
What?
Hey, how you
Yeah, yeah, I appreciate how you just came in. I love that. Tell us about what you do though, like so everybody knows.
Yes, so Hustle Mommies is a nonprofit that is a social services movement that focuses on direct services, advocacy, and policy. We make sure Black moms in urban and rural communities that their voices are heard, and we elevate through advocacy, giving them services, elevating their businesses, as well as advocating for their communities and families and all that good stuff. And we focus on Black moms in the urban and rural community because in most of those places, like Greenwood, Mississippi, Shreveport, the small towns in these different places, the New Orleans and Chicago, Baltimore's, etc., moms have been hustle mommies the whole time. Because a mom can take care of the kids, go to work, fry chicken, do hair, all at the same time, and have 6 different incomes. So now we want to take that hustle and create generational wealth while also still advocating for things in the community and creating generational wealth, not only through money, but through experiences. And from that, I am launching my consulting company, White Star Consulting, that really focus on helping businesses and nonprofits and individuals to be able to advocate and understand policy and connect them with elected officials and help them to get to the bag with these foundations and corporations. Because I learned that from who? I learned that from Ami and Black Girl Ventures.
Oh,
Full circle moment.
thank you. So in the pivot from Hustle Mommies to White Star, what was your decision making there? Or not? It's not a full pivot because you're still doing Hustle Mommies. What's the journey like? What caused you to open up the consulting firm?
Because back in the day, you said, like, Ariel, you're doing a lot of free stuff that you need to get paid for because you're helping a lot of people.
Hello?
And you about to have kids in college. I have 2 of them in college now. It's been many.
Wow.
Yes, they're in college. And then not only that, I had to realize that I was giving so much and getting so little that I was doing consulting work. And it's okay. I had to separate what is the give back from what is the you need to give to me and my services and expertise. And so it took a while because I'm such a servant in terms of giving, but I had to make that pivot because, I'm an empty nester, and I lost some weight. I've been praying to the Lord, and God said it's time. So I am now Barbara Walter of the trenches coming to you live and being able to give you what you need. So you tell me what's going on. I got a solution for that. I can connect you. I can give you a strategy. I can tell you about my wins and losses as a leader and what you need to do and come up with a great plan for you. So the pivot was really kind of hard because I'm such a advocate, but I realized that you got to separate the advocacy from the actual expertise. And I think that a lot of us in the nonprofit space, we get stuck in that because we think that asking to pay us for our expertise is a bad thing. And you were the first person that said it absolutely isn't.
No, it is not. It's a value exchange, and money just happens to be a part of it.
Yes.
Right. I think like the fuel in the car. I could ride in the car with you. Yeah, but not if you ain't got no gas. Yeah. So what we doing? You know what I mean? Like when you start to like shift the perception on the perspective on it just a little bit, it really can change, like open up a whole new world of how you think about it. Right.
Yes.
So yeah, no, I appreciate it. So are you working Greater Chicago area or is it like all over for White Star?
So it's all over. I'm in DC, the DMV, Baltimore, DMV, as much as I'm in Chicago because we're launching Hustle Mommies Maryland later this year. So we've been doing that. And, I'm so much in DC that I was at a party for Go-Go and I had backyard band singing Go Ariel. So I'm in there, in the Maryland area.
Okay, I see you in my backyard.
You see me, yes. So, but the thing is that I'm nationwide. I have moms all over that reach out to me. I've taken moms to the White House. I've done a lot of things, and having those moments.
Wait, go. What, Cam, go.
Which White House?
Oh, not this one, baby. I ain't going that. Here is White House, not this one. Okay, we not gonna do that. But it's been very important for me to be able to be nationwide with the relationships I've built. And I realized I've been giving people strategies for free for years. And I'm telling you, Cameron, Ami has told me, she was like, listen, stop. She told me this like 3-4 years ago, like, you are brilliant, stop. So that's where it led to me to now launching this month, White Star Consulting here in Chicago. Even I'm going to tell you a story. I work with I worked this past week with Jesse Jackson's Viewing, supporting the family because I support Junior on his campaign for Congress here in Illinois. And being there, I was so inspired how so many people from different backgrounds was there to see the Reverend, Lioness State of Rainbow Push, and just hearing stories about how he was paid to do for his expertise in advocacy. He got all these things he was paid, but he also had the community side. Reverend was all about community, but he also did his consulting and business. And so I want to tell everyone, if you're like me and an advocate or whatnot, it's okay to have a for-profit side of your nonprofit to do things. They should pay us for our expertise. And even in this situation now with Hustle Mommies, we're partnered with a large entity that we'll tell you about as when time permits, to where we're doing something heavy with Hustle Mommies. But this is going to be our first major contract where we're partnering together to make a difference, because I said, no, I'm not doing this for free and having you get our expertise as Black moms, and you're not giving us the big check so I can pay these moms who have these expertise. And so it's okay to say, the Hustle Mommy company can be your contractor for this, and you are going to donate to Hustle Mommies. You got to come with that mindset.
Oh no, 100%. Where can people find it? Where can people find? So where can people find White Star? Where can they find Hustle Mommies? How are you? Is it two different places? Where
Yes,
you
two
want them to
different
find you
places.
first?
So
Okay.
Hustle Mommies, you can go to hustlemommies.org, subscribe to our mailing list. We send out great things to you all the time, and we are doing some great things here in Chicago, and we're going to be fully launching Hustle Mommies Maryland later this summer. But also White Star, follow us on Instagram now, and we're fully launching and going live the beginning of April. So that's going to be super exciting. So yes, so I'm excited, Ami.
Good. I'm excited for you, girl. You got it. Okay. Thank you so much
Yes.
for joining. I appreciate you for coming on over here.
Yes, thank you.
And I hope
All
to
right.
see you in those the DMV streets. That's where I'm based.
Yes, I gotta catch up with you. I haven't seen you in forever. So yes, we'll be catching up.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Well, oh, sorry. I didn't mean to cut off like that. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Ariel. Appreciate
You know what? This is the power of you. Let's talk about the power of you, because I didn't do what I was supposed to do at the co-host at the level you did in terms of sending out this. I sent it out to a couple people to sign up. The fact that we have guests and business owners, people who are tapped in all different ways, and we got it lined up for 30 days. This is the power of the homie. And I'm this is the power of you. So
Thank
the
you.
next 30-day show or the 60-day show or whatever the
next. Listen, I'm already.
And you gave me ideas on like how to. I need to start booking hit politics like that instead. I'm always trying to make it perfect. It's like,
let me tell you something.
Send it out en masse, and whoever wants to joins.
Your unique vantage point. Okay, everybody hear me very well on this. Your unique vantage point is the time between your decision making and your execution. If you can systematically know yourself enough to know how you work, how your audience works, to know to move quicker within that decision making and execution piece, you could be first to anything. You can make anything pop. Like, you can make anything take off for your audience. I mean, at the end of the day, like, first thing is systems for me. So I'm like, how can I do this? I know my bandwidth right now. I know my capacity. I know what I would like to do. I know how people typically do it, but I'm like, you know what? Bump that. I got to do it the way I'm doing it. And something that came to me this morning too. Thank you for that acknowledgement, Cameron. Something that came to me this morning was like, move with what you're clear on. Like, so many times we try to figure out what we're not clear on. We put all our energies all of our energy into getting more clear about something that doesn't feel clear enough. And it's like, that's fine. Move with everything you feel 1000% clear on, and guarantee what you're not clear on will unfold. So it's like, don't worry about being perfect. Don't worry about, like, just what do you feel clear on today? Today, I feel very clear that I need to take these 2 steps. I don't know if y'all saw the Will Smith. It's still up, I think, but it's a Will Smith show called Pole to Pole. And it's really, really good. Like, I highly recommend. And there's one episode on happiness, and he's visiting these monks, and they're like, talking about how to, how happiness works and what that looks like. And one of the things that came up is like the monks being acutely aware of their mortality and just being like, if I'm on my deathbed and I'm not worried about this, then I'm not gonna be worried about this today either. I'm not saying that in the sense of like if I die today, because if I die today it makes you like sacrificial. So that's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is all you have is today. Today you actually don't have tomorrow. And I don't mean that because you're gonna die. I just mean like literally in
Tomorrow's
timing.
not in your grasp. Like if you don't
Yeah.
own tomorrow,
It's
you have
literally
today.
not in your grasp. So it's like if so sometimes in the morning I got like a million thoughts and I'm like, but if all I have is today, what are 3 strong steps, moves, decisions, phone calls, emails? Like what am I gonna do with what am I gonna do with this hour is more important than what I'm gonna do at 5 p.m. Right? Like, what am I gonna do with this 7 o'clock hour that I'm in? How much energy I'm gonna give this 7 o'clock hour? How much concentration I'm gonna give this? It's almost like too another visual that I give people is like what we tend to do is the difference between like the spray bottle nozzle. You open it up to spray and you just like wide spray and then everything gets a little bit of you. Versus like if you turn that nozzle to that stream and you were to zero it in on the thing, how much power you would have, how much change you would make, how many things you would accomplish in with that one thing. So it's like using those in your day to day, being like, if these are the hours I have, because right now all I got is 7 o'clock. It's 7:26 a.m. here. Really, all I have is this right now. So in this next moment, I could change my own life. Yeah, I could change somebody else's life in this next moment. What does that look like for me? And bringing that to my consciousness along with like body work and like regulating my nervous system has really moved me to be able to think of systems quickly. But also, anyway, I'll say that. My background and me building has also led me to be like, what, I gotta go. But I gotta go has turned into like from moving from my body, settling down more, not from like a team no sleep hustle mentality. But like but like look, if all I got is next 30 minutes, my meetings for the day are already planned out. But in this next 30 minutes, I can go ahead and email this person. I can go ahead and like post this
I've
thing.
noticed that about you. Like in our text, in our communication, like this whole concept of I have right now, the energy, like we definitely are different people. And sometimes when you're confronted or you're put into you're not whether it's confronted, you're just put into situations with people who literally view and operate in a different way. It challenges you and it can challenge you and also in a bunch of different ways. But the thing I've noticed about this, I have right now, like and what you're talking about, the awareness of the hyper now almost. I've seen more and more of that. And like, oh, this is not good energy. I don't know if I'm gonna move off that. I used to kind of for years, it took me a while to understand what that really meant and how and to really respect that out of others because I used to be like, yo, the work is the work. I don't care how you feel about it. Like things have to get done no matter what. The world gonna keep moving. Like I used to move around like that. And now I just have an understanding of like another way to look at it. And it actually probably is what I was gonna say. It's actually probably better for you and your spirit and your health to
I
be
think so. Also, bro, we 45. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't gonna lie, something hit different about 45. We can't even get into it. We got 2 minutes left in the show. Matter tomorrow, let's talk about that. Because people be like, oh, when you over 40, okay, 40 was fine. You know what I mean? Like I can't
mid
say
40s hit different.
44. I was
I'm
like, yo,
44. I'm
what?
44. You 45.
You about to turn 45 though?
Yeah, I'm 45 this year.
44, I was like, oh, okay. But I just turned 45 a month ago now? And I feel so different, bro. Like I can't even like something clicked where I'm like, yo, I don't even know how to describe it. Like even when I was just talking about being in these rooms, sometimes I feel like old too now. Like I'm feeling older than a lot of the people. And now, granted, they're like 35, but I never felt that way before. You know, I always felt like, hey, we're still in the same like generation era kind of thing. But now I'm like, oh no, like actually, I don't even feel like I'm kin to some of the stuff that I used to do or ways I used to feel. Like it's like look, I only got a few more summers left. You know what I mean? Like we talking, you know,
That's the
I'm
scary part is like you don't realize if you start breaking it down by summers. I mean, even I got 20 some odd summers left if I only live to the average expected age of a black man.
that part.
Less than.
So it's like, what you want to do with your summer? You know, and I think that's the thing to think about. That's a great show note to end on. We'll be back we'll be back tomorrow. You watching the 30 Day Show? We appreciate y'all for tuning in. We'll be here every day for 90 days. This is day 3, hitting it strong. Tomorrow's day 4. We
Now
got more guests.
can the show start now? Because I just woke up.
Right. Right. We appreciate y'all so much. We appreciate all Maria. Wait, what's the other person? Maria, Tiffany, Luxury Larice, all my folks on Instagram tuning in every day. My Instagram's constantly going up. I really appreciate y'all for just rocking with us every day. LinkedIn folks, shout out to y'all. So like we're gonna be rocking tomorrow. Yeah, every day. So 30 days. All right. Follow. All right, we gotta get out of here, but let me put the follow. Follow Omi Bell on Instagram. I gotta get your thing in here too, Cam. At Omi Bell on Instagram. Follow the 30 Day Show on Instagram. Follow what else to follow? At the Omi Show. We're putting up clips every day, so if you want to like see any of the recaps, the AI chose for us, you can go to any of those platforms to check it out. But if not, we'll see y'all tomorrow. And yeah, we'll see y'all tomorrow. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. And we out. What I say, I got to think of an ending saying. I don't know. Peace. In the Middle East at this point. All right.
Yes.
Seriously. All right. We'll see y'all tomorrow.